Well, it starts with me trying to figure out if this movie was a piece of music, what would it be? Because I don't do drugs anymore, and therefore music becomes my very inspiration source, which means I would listen to the specific music constantly. And I can go back through my other films and I can specifically say if that was a piece of music, it would be that kind of music, and I would listen to that specific kind of music when I was writing it or thinking of it or conceiving it or whatever. With Drive, it was the same situation. And the first thing that came to me was that, well, Driver is half man, half machine. And he drives an antique car, which means that his machinery is what you would say antique. And I knew I wanted a lot of electronic score from the beginning. That was always my approach. I wanted something that had synthesizer sound to it.
Yeah.
And so the idea that Kraftwerk, when they started coming out in the late 70s using electronic music, but in a very crude, strange way, but they were almost antique instruments. If you look at them now, almost like the source. So I would just listen to a lot of Kraftwerk. And when that was kind of embedded into my mind, that was kind of like the style I went for. But I didn't want to do retro. I didn't want to go back and take something old and put it back in and make it new, because that would make the movie too easy to read. It had to be unidentifiable in terms of when and where it takes place. Like a fairy tale, it had to be kind of larger than life. I mean, the songs came much later. The idea was just like electronic music. But for example, the idea of his jacket, that satin jacket with a scorpion in his back, that was born out of I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss. I said if this jacket has a sound, it was going to be Kiss. So that's why I wanted satin, very specifically.
Yeah.
So once I had the songs down that I liked, Matthew Reed, the editor, and I would listen to a lot of pop songs and just go through catalogs online that he had. And I said, I like that, I like that, I like that. And we found which one worked. And then I had some ideas that didn't work as well. But when it finally got to what I liked, Cliff Martinez would then emulate the sound of those three songs into the score. Well, I always look upon violence as having sex. It's all about the build-up. The execution or the climatics is quite short. So if you believe the build-up, the climatics would be so much more powerful.
Awesome. That's a perfect way to end this.